Are you racing Ironman Florida this year? Brilliant. If so, this video is for you because I, as a previous Ironman Florida finisher and an Ironman U certified coach, I'm going to talk through key tips that you need to know for about the swim course, the bike course, and the run course. I'll also talk a little bit about equipment recommendations, some key training sessions in the lead up to Florida, and also some a little bit on nutrition. And that's not enough. There's a little bit of sweetener at the end where I give you a chance to actually really fill your boots with knowledge so you will be 100% ready to smash it come race day. So who am I? My name is Stephen Moody, or Coach Steve as my athletes. I'm a Ironman U certified coach of 15 plus years, and I've raced 12 Ironman, including Ironman Florida in 2022. So that's how I'm going to use my knowledge to share with you to make sure you're prepared come November. All right, let's talk about the route. Florida is unusual in the sense that it's a two-loop swim course. So there's a couple of things you need to know about what we call an Australian exit. And also the weather can affect the swim conditions fairly dramatically and change from day to day. So let's talk through that. Your day will start here. You'll be lined up on the beach and you will, as Ironman no longer does mass swim starts, you will be broken up into corrals based on your estimated swim time. So what's that mean? As in, if you think you're going to complete the entire swim in less than an hour, and you're a super swimmer if you do, by the way, then you will go into where the yellow board that says less than 60 minutes. There'll be kind of less than 75 minutes, 30 minutes, etc., all the way up to kind of less than 2 hours 20, which is the cutoff time. So my first bit of advice is to make sure you seed yourself correctly. A lot of beginners and first timers make the mistake is I might be close to cutoff. If I go in earlier, I'll give myself more chance. Rubbish. Your time starts when you cross the mat that will be just before you enter the water. And if you put yourself in the wrong corral, as in if you're a 90-minute swimmer, best case scenario, and then you go, look, I'm going to put myself in the 1 hour, sub 1 hour swim time, you'll have two disadvantages. One, the stronger swimmers will go swim over you. You're just in the way, and it's nothing personal, but it's just the way that those guys work. And two, you'll miss out on the ability to draft or swim behind or just at the side of someone who's a similar ability and actually get them to break the tension of the water. It's easier. Exactly the way when you swim close to someone behind someone in the pool. You want that. Okay. So some swim tips. One, seed yourself correctly. As I said, give yourself the best chance to actually be around swimmers of your similar ability, best chance of drafting, etc. That's what you want. The other thing to note with Florida, and you'll get this a lot, people post up, oh, look, it was this weather this day and this weather the next day. I did it personally, and like 2 days out, the water was pristine, like glass. And I went for some practice swims. I thought, fantastic PB swim coming up here. The day of the race, it was pretty choppy. It just can change. It can be very changeable. So what I advise people here is in your training sessions, which you'll talk a little bit in the video, definitely get some open water swims in, get used to actually swimming in chop, because that's you're essentially preparing yourself for the worst case scenario. There's also some hints and tips, which I actually made a video last year. If you look in the comments below, but if it is choppy, what are the key things you need to do? There's things like sort of like getting used to ducking under waves to get in. There's increasing your stroke rate, etc., and some other sighting tips, which again in the video below. Well, let's assume it's a nice calm day, which would be great. You do need to remember it's a two-loop course, and again, this is what we talk about in terms of the other tip. Another thing about Florida, there can be jellyfish in the water. There were a lot of jellyfish in 2022 when I swam in it. Some people got stung, but these are not like Portuguese man of war. Like you will notice this thing, but it's not going to, hopefully it's not going to affect you too badly. A top tip, and this is what some of the long distance swimmers do, is they put Vaseline on their hands and around their face, because that means that the chance of the sting actually touching your skin is lessened. it also the Vaseline does get washed off as you can imagine, but it's something that can help you a little bit in terms of preparing for a jellyfish. Another reason why to swim behind someone, because they'll go through the jellyfish before you will. So just be aware there can be marine life in the water. But again, just be aware, keep your eyes out, and you can hopefully avoid them. The other element, as I said, Florida's one of the key characteristics. It's called an Australian exit, which means that you actually get out onto land and get back into the water, which in it has a couple of challenges. So first loop, you'll swim up around a good bit outside the pier. Use the red turning buoys as sighting points, as in what you look at to make sure you're swimming in a straight line. So if you're swimming 1, 2, 3, head up, red buoy is still in front of me. I'm on a straight line. Perfect. Turn, turn. Your other sighting point will be the kind of the exit gantry here. But remember, on your first lap, when you're coming back down, you'll be swimming here and you'll have to get out. Two things to note, as in when you're getting out, you will be swimming horizontally for a while. If you hop up and go vertical, you can all the blood can go to your feet and you can get a bit lightheaded. Slowly get yourself up. Other thing as well, kick your legs a little bit more aggressively, especially for the first loop of the Australian exit, because you need to have go into a quick run. You run under the pier here and on the sand. There tends to be an aid station there serving water. Serving water sounds very like there's waiters with was it silver platters? There's water cups you can grab. Take one, rinse out your mouth, splash it in your face, whatever. Just gets this maybe the salt out of your mouth. Okay, that's all you're getting. And then just get back into the water as quick as possible. Second loop again. Use your red buoys as your turning points. The second loop, you aim towards they'll have the big kind of black exit, was it arch? That's your sighting point. There you go. Aim for that. Draft as much as possible. As I said, try to get on people's feet, try to get on people's hips, because they break the water and it makes your swim easier. If you get into a pod around 3 or 4 people, it's brilliant and it'll make your life a lot easier. Key with Ironman swimming is minimizing the energy you have to use to get through that 3.8k. As I said, on lap 1 exit, when you're Australian exit, kick more, get the blood flow back to your legs, especially on lap 2 when you're going to be when you're going to be exiting here. Again, kick a little bit more aggressively. It will prevent you from having the jelly legs. And then we're off on the beach. And we'll go into T1, which we'll talk a bit about now. Transition advice: it's up over the beach, over the road, as in the road's obviously closed, but and then there's you're actually running over on concrete and into the shopping center car park. A key bit of advice here is that you will have marked out landmarks where your bike is racked. All your bikes they'll be numbered, and therefore you will always know exactly where your bike is to be left. So it's not a case of you pick the best spot on the day. You have a number based on your registration, and then you actually go to that point. So you will know what that is. Make sure you walk the course a couple of days beforehand, so you have a landmark. Go, right, I'm in the second half of the shopping center. It's a palm tree on my left. That's where I go to. And make sure you walk this a couple of times the day before, so it's nice and fresh, and you don't need to worry about after feeling a lot of adrenaline in the system and you're going, wow, where's my bike? And you want to be that person running around looking, because all the bikes will look very similar on race day. It is longish because you run up the beach and you run into the shopping center and you have to get the bike and then out to T1. But you're talking around 500, 600 meters. It's not the longest on the circuit, which I think the award goes to Italy or Mallorca on that one. As I said, find and note your landmarks in advance and write them down on your race strategy document or your little notes, what you're going to do. It'd be nice to have that the day before and calm the nerves down. Again, if this is your first Ironman, and you may have done some triathlons before, Ironman triathlon is different in the sense it's not like your local domestic triathlon where you go to transition, you put your bike there, you put your runners there, you put everything there. They have a specific bag system where you have a blue bag, a red bag, and a white bag. So that's a lot of me to think about. don't worry about it, in the sense that I actually have another video in the comments below that shows how that system works and tells you what to put in the bag. So you can just watch that, and it's, 3 minutes listed there, and it's actually just, it makes it very simple. But the key thing for you to remember is, in Florida, there will be a bag system of which you're coming out of the water. You will be picking up a blue bag, which is your swim to bike bag. You will take out your helmet out of that. You'll take out your bike shoes and anything else you want, and you'll be putting your wetsuit back into that bag and all the rest. You will have laid your blue bag out the night before, so you'll know where to find it. In European races, they usually have a rack system. Was it in American races? They seem to just literally put the bags on the floor. So you're running up, and there'll be a numerical order. So you're number 225, and you go, okay, right, there's 125, 150. There's my number. And the volunteers will be there to help you. So shout out your numbers you're coming through. I'm 225. They go, I'm over here, over here. They will help. They were great and really, really helpful on race day. And speaking of being helpful, and something I'd like to highlight is, if you do subscribe to my channel, there's loads of other videos on how to improve, not only for this race in terms of how to taper, how to pack, how to nutrition, etc. But if you want to improve your triathlon game, if you're doing 70.3 or anything else, if you hit subscribe there, I guarantee there'll be video and content you'll find later on that I've either there or will release that will help you make you go faster. So if you find this stuff useful, please hit subscribe. Really appreciate it. Okay, right. So a bit more onto your race day in November. The IRONMAN bike course in Florida is renowned for being flat and fast. It is, but my personal experience was, it wouldn't stand up to that, but I had a bad day. It is one loop, which is great. It means that you're not going to have to deal with any sort of like big drafting packs as some of the more loop courses suffer from. And there's kind of some key elements to it, which I'll talk through. The first knot, was it up to 30k, is flat and fast. It's on kind of like motorway concrete road, so the surface is lovely, but it can be crowded because it's at the start before people kind of find their level. Don't get stressed about that, but be very situationally aware. People are overtaking. Communicate, talk. I'm coming left or right, whatever you're overtaking the side. Remember that. But talk to people when you are overtaking. That's key. The next kind of 30 to 35 kilometers is again on good road surface. It's a little bit exposed in terms of to winds, but I found this part there wasn't that much wind to speak of. That did come later. There's a dog leg here at 37 kilometers or so, and an aid station. Then you go up and down, so there's a turnaround point there. 56 to 100 kilometers. I found those more rolling hills here. I know when I say hills, it's not something that you have to like drop out of the big chain and all the rest and go like and get out of saddle, but you do need to use your gears. And although it is flat, overall there are some rollers in there, so it's not 100% flat. That's a little bit of a misnomer in the marketing. 100 to 150. There was more of a descent on this after the hills, so sort of like it's a gradual decline. But I found you're very exposed to the wind at this point here, and the wind was big on the day I raced, and it did make a big effort. It took a lot of energy out of a lot of riders. When it is windy, a key tip here is get aero. As I would say, get onto your aero bars or make yourself small, because you're minimizing the actual resistance into the wind. So it is a bike course which you need to practice being on the tri bars, or even down, if you don't have tri bars, down on the hoods of your road bike, so you can make yourself small and minimize that the impact of the wind against you. There's a turnaround point, sorry, at 113 kilometers up here. And again, you're on this is where I also found the wind kind of was working against us. And I found that very draining on the day. The last 150 to 180k, there's a couple of odd sections, if I describe it that way. There's a one point where you go off the actual main motorway, and you're on the boardwalk, as in like you're so like behind the, you go over some mats and they bring you on this little boardwalk. It's only for a K or so, but it's a bit odd after being on the motorway the entire day. There's also a point where they bring you in behind a shopping mall, which is again a little bit odd, but just the way the route goes. So just be aware in this last kind of 30 kilometers, there are some odd sections. So you're not head down blasting out the watts at this stage. Just be very, very situationally aware. Again, the marshals will give you a lot of advice beforehand. Slow down, slow down. The final part of the final turnaround is up here around 167 kilometers, and then, which is a little bit disheartening, because when you come down here, you know you're cycling away from transition, but cycling up here 167 and then back down. But it's a nice run in for the last 13 kilometers or so. Nice flat, fast, and you can see all the hotels which are kind of right beside transition. So I'm heading home. This is the end of the cycle. Aid stations, this is useful to print off and put in the stem of your bike if you want, or convert them into or write this down and put it on the stem of your bike, so you don't need to worry about and think about, wow, when's my next aid station? I just dropped my bottle. I really need a bottle. Go, actually, there's roughly one every kind of 15 to 20 miles, so they're very well stocked. They have Morton gels, they'll have Gatorade, cola, bananas, etc. I personally made a balls on my aid stations on my race, as in I didn't fuel up as I should. I think I was a little bit jet lagged, and also just lost myself in the moment. But don't make that mistake. Don't make the same mistake I did. Make sure you always take on and have your nutrition strategy worked out. There's another, we talk about that in a couple of slides. So as I said, it is a good course. It can be a little bit windy. There's these odd little sections here, and the road surfaces are great. It's one lap, so it's not going to be that much drafting. Enjoy. Okay, so we now have rolled back into Panama City. We are beach. We are now going to T1. It's obviously a little bit shorter and snappier than we're going to T2. This is a little bit shorter and snappier than T1 because we're not going out from the beach and over the road. It's a single transition, so you're going back and you're racking your bike where you took it from earlier. Again, make sure you've walked the course beforehand, that you actually know where you're going to find your bike from the bike dismount line and then the bike entrance. Okay. Ironman specific rules apply. Again, this is now a red bag, so you will be picking up your red bag and you'll be taking out your runners, your visor, your shades, whatever you want on that. And then you'll be throwing your helmet into the red bag, and your bike shoes, etc., into it. So bike to run bag is red. Again, all explained in the video below. Alrighty, so listen, just again, another quick hopefully this video is useful. If so, please click thumbs up. It really helps my video in terms of getting promotion, exposure, and kind of helps out cool athletes like you, which is what we're all about. So a quick 2 seconds, click, doesn't slow down the video. Much love. Righty ho. Okay, so on to the run course. The run course is 2 laps of essentially 10K down, 10K back. So that's how it works. It's on a straight line on the main motorway. They close this all down. And it actually makes things quite easy in terms of you don't have to think about much. The surface is flat and it's on a tarmac or concrete the entire time. Pacing is key, as in for any Ironman run, but the way this course is set up, it actually helps you out fairly nicely, as in you can use the out and backs to break it into 4 by 10 kilometer chunks. The first one, you will be feeling like a champ because you're going, look, I was worried about the swim, nailed that. I've got 180K, 112 miles in my legs from a bike, and I'm still feeling like a rock star. The crowd are fab. There's lots of people cheering me. Let's bring it home. First 10K, when you're heading out and you're heading towards what you call it, there's a little fairground and stuff here that you pass. Take it easy. Almost be holding back to almost go like, I could do this all day, because this will not feel the same way when you're passing this the second time. Hold it back, and make sure you get the power on fuel, and make sure you're kind of keeping on top of your core temperature. It was quite hot when I was running, and that affected a lot of people. Turn around. Now second down, try to hit your race pace that you were practicing your long runs and your bricks off your long bikes. And again, fueling as you go. Third, again, it's another 10 kilometers. Simple. Break it into, like, how do you eat an elephant in a room? Break it into small chunks. This is how you do that. The last 10K, no other way. It's gonna suck. Make sure you just dig in and think about it and just count off the kilometers as you're going, or miles, however you're going to measure it, and dig in, because it's another thing that will be key on the day is actually fueling. These aid stations probably around every kind of 3 miles or every 2.5 kilometers. They're well stacked. Make sure you get something at each aid station. Your glycogen levels will be low because you will have been out here already for 6, 7, 8+ hours, whatever it's taken you so far to get here. Make sure you give your body as much as possible. Mix it up in terms of get Coke on board, Red Bull if you can stomach it. I can't. Something that you have to chew as well, in terms of something salty, bit of fruit, mix it up, because you need all the energy you can get. Again, and just dig in a little bit of mental toughness here, where you're kind of looking at, you're kind of visualizing the the finish line, and then you're also thinking about like mantras, short, powerful statements that will jog you back into, get you on top of your focus in terms of dedications. Why are you doing this? Who are you dedicating to? Are you doing it to inspire your kids? Doing a memory of a lost friend, a loved one? Start having those images, because at this stage it becomes really a mental battle not to stop. You've got to keep on rocking it on. Feed off the crowd energy. I thought there was great crack happening all along the way. There's lads in dinosaur outfits. There was everyone fancy dressed. There was just everyone shouting your name and all the rest, and have a bit of conversation with these people as you can. Anything to distract yourself from the pain in your legs. Just keep going. The Americans were great fun out there, I must admit. Have your finish line moves ready. Don't do what time is it, and hit the start, because that will be your finish line picture. Give it the thumbs up, give it the dab, whatever you want, but make sure you have that finish line. This is something that's going to replace the pictures on the wall of your wedding, your kids' graduations, etc. It's more important, because this is what it's all about. This is the finish line. They put on a show. You finish in the kind of shopping center, and it is absolutely class. There's a big recovery tent afterwards. Everyone's hanging around. Everyone's sharing war stories. Everyone's trying to get food in. All those pizzas, all such stuff. But you really don't know what you want to eat at that stage. But you're there. You're with your finish line medal. You've got your cap. You've got your finisher T-shirt. It's an epic day, and you've so deserved it. I hope you get here. So in terms of some other things I can talk to you about helping you get there, here, based on the course I've just described, here are some key sessions I will recommend. It is a sea swim. Therefore, you need to swim in the sea and get in there, get in your wetsuit, practice sighting, as I said, making sure you swim in a straight line, practice drafting with your buddies. Make sure you're swimming on a day when it's choppy. See what that feels. It might feel a little bit nauseous because you're bouncing around by waves, but you've had experience on that. Get in the water with your friends. Make sure you do it safe, as in you've got using the swim floats. You've got people watching on the deck, but you've got to practice swimming in the open water. This is not a time you turn up with loads of pool practice and go like, it's slightly wavy. It's a disaster. Practice what you're gonna take on board. Bike wise, you should be hitting a milestone distance of 112 miles, at least a century ride anyhow, or 180k. There's a psychological benefit in that, and also it means that you are aware of what your body feels like after 60, 70, 80, 90, 120 kilometers. You need to have bedded in those sessions and that you're building up to those. It's a flat, fast course. As I said, you will have huge benefits if you can stay down and make yourself aero, especially when the wind comes. So therefore, practice time on the bars, as in like if you have a TT bike, definitely use it. If you don't have if you have a road bike, consider some clip-on bars, and practice being on them. It affects the way your back feels and all the rest. If you're not used to it, don't assume you're going to rock up and go, I did everything on Zwift. I'm now going to try out aero bars. You've got to be outdoors, see what it feels like. Fine tune your nutrition and your hydration strategies. You need to know what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat it. Again, I talk about this in the next couple of slides, but on your long bikes, this is where you need to practice it. Test your equipment. Are you using a parameter? Are you using a heart rate monitor? Are you using a disc wheel? This is not something that you turn up and just hope and assume it's going to work for your race day. Not at all. Long bikes, if you're using a disc wheel, get it on. Use it. See what that feels when, like, if what it sounds like, what it feels like if you're going up a little bit of a hill, when you're going on the flats. Get used to it. Nothing surprising come race day. Run wise, you gotta, again, you don't need to run a full marathon in the lead up to an Ironman, surprising enough, because it will zap your legs and you might actually end up injured. My guys will max out a full 28k, 30k run, depending on their level, as a standalone run, because you're getting aerobic benefits from the bike sessions and the other midweek run sessions. I will get them to do a long brick of maybe 5 or 7 kilometers off a long bike. Not, again, people sort of go, like, I should run like half a marathon off of. No, because you're going to get yourself injured and burnt out. The body can only take so much of, you need to be looking at your weekly volume and your overall mileage that you're covered. And if you're trying to do like stuff during the week and then trying to lash in a 40k standalone run and then like a 20k run off a long bike, you're going to get injured. If you not are able to do a standalone 30k run on a Saturday and then like a 160k bike on a Sunday and do a 5k run off that, you are in incredibly good nick. As I said, it's a loop. Florida's a loop session, so you're out back. There's a monotony in that, and you need to kind of be. There's almost a mental anguish where you go, "Oh God, I'm going to see that point again." So I get my guys to do right. It's a 20k bike, sorry, 20k run. So I want you to do a 4x5k loop. Just get used to the idea. I'm passing that again. Oh, I'm going to see that. Oh, that's the last time I'm going to pass it. And play with the mental side of the game. Again, get your strategies down for hydration and nutrition on the run as well. Okay, so nutrition, as mentioned a bit about, look, this is something key and it's something that you should be dialing in now, and hopefully you've practiced already. It's a little bit too much for me to go through in terms of exactly all the details, but you need to know what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat, how you're going to transport it, how you're going to transport it from bike to mouth. Okay, so there's a video again and links below. If you're kind of confused any of that stuff, I go through in great detail. I give you some advice. Check it out. And look, any queries or questions, ping me at info@smartenduranceSolutions.com. I always like to help. Equipment and apparel. What should I use? What should I wear? We're going to go through swim. It will be a wetsuit swim. I've not heard of when it hasn't been a wetsuit swim in Florida. Goggles. Good goggles. It can, the sun can be rising, so tinted goggles are better than non-tinted, in case, because you don't want that squinting your eyes. Swim hat. Ironman will give you a branded swim hat which you have to wear, but my tip for people is to wear 2 swim hats, one underneath, and then you put your goggles on, and then use the Ironman one to anchor the goggles so they don't get knocked off if someone brushes into you. Or when you're doing the second dive into the water, again, you don't want to lose your goggles. The video on how to do that is in the links below. Tri-suit. This is always a big question for a newbie. Should I wear a tri-suit? Should I wear a complete change of clothes? Should I wear a 2-piece? There's pros and cons to each. And again, there's a video below. But spoiler alert, if you're new and you just want to get to the start line, just want to get to the finish line and not going for time, go for the one with the most comfort. And that typically tends to be taking a little bit longer to transition and change into a whole clean set of cycling gear with a bigger chamois, and all the rest are your favorite cycling top. Same for the run. Neck guard or body glide, as I said, especially when you're swimming in something salty like the sea in Florida, something like a neck guard will protect you from getting that horrible neck rash that you get from the wetsuit. It's just the way it rubs against your neck. Some people use body glide in it. I find that's hit and miss. Literally, you're going to end up missing it. Or what I find, the neck guard, the video below shows what it looks like. It actually just definitely protects your neck. It's one of the best pieces of equipment I've ever invested in. video below and link to it if you want to actually buy it, but it's a great piece of kit. I do use Body Glide myself, but I actually use it to put up my arms and my legs, because it means that the wetsuit comes off quicker in transition. Little tip there. Oh, and there's also links to transition tips as well in the video if you want to check them out. Bike, TT or road bike. If you have a TT, definitely use it on this course. It's flat, it's fast, it's designed for TT. If you've got a disc wheel, also use it. If you have a road bike, consider getting clip-on aero bars if you have time to practice on them. Not if you don't. If you've only a road bike, you've only ever practiced on that, turn up with what you're good with, turn up what you actually are very comfortable with. Helmet, yep, obviously. Shades, cycle shoes, and socks. Top tip for Ironman: socks are your best friend. Do take time to take the 30 seconds in T1 and T2 to change to clean, dry socks. Remarkably comfortable and very, very important in terms of avoiding blisters, which will hurt you on the run. Race belt with your number, hydration, nutrition setup, wind or a rain jacket. As I said, I found the weather very, very changeable in Florida. So what I advise people is, if there could be a bit of a storm coming in on your race day, it's better to have a wind or rain jacket in your blue bag, because if you don't use it, it just stays there. If you don't want to be in a situation where you're going, wow, look like it's going to lash rain, and all I've got is a tri-suit. But if you've got a rain jacket, you go, actually, I'm going to put that on. That'd be fine. And all the rest might give you a little bit more comfort in that. So better to be looking at it rather than looking for it. Run, Loctite laces. Again, if you've don't know what they are, essentially they're elasticated laces that turn your runners into kind of a pair of like slip-ons. Like, it means that you're not tying your laces. They save you probably between 30 seconds to a minute. I did a little test on it, video in the comments below. But it's a top tip. Much more useful in terms of shorter distance, because in those races a minute is key, whereas in an Ironman distance race not so much. But look, if you're going to save a minute of your time, it's a difference between 12:01 and 11:59. I'll take it. Hat, visor, shades, socks, big socks fan, race belt if you need to change that, and nutrition. I'm going to draw a question mark on this. I know I have this in here, but like the nutrition and all the Ironman races, I do find that they're really well stocked, particularly Morton gels, which I've now, thank you very much, Ironman, I'm clearly addicted to. So I tend not to run with any nutrition, because I know there's going to be an aid station there. A, I don't need to carry any extra weight. B, there's an aid station with buckets of Morton gels up there. I'm going to eat my body weight in Morton gels and earn back my entry fee, which would be pretty impressive to eat $800 worth of Morton gels. But even still, as I said, it's your call. If there's something specific you run with and you want your stomach to is used to digesting, bring it. But for me, I'm grand with what they have in the aid station, so I just use their bananas, their oranges, their Morton gels, their Coke, etc. Up to yourself. Post race, this is kind of your white bag, change of clothes, ways of contacting your family and friends, and compression gear. Don't need to have any food there, because as I said, the post race banquet is epic. There's lots of stuff going on. But get to the massage tent early if you want, or else there's going to be a big massive queue. And a post race massage is genius after these events. Some other travel tips or things you should be thinking of now is final travel tip. Again, this will become more important to check this out now. I'm actually banned from doing any logistics with my friends whenever I go traveling, because I have a habit of actually landing in the wrong city, or actually booking the hotel in the wrong event. But if you have someone who's good at that stuff, make sure that you just double check your flights. If you've got a bike box, make sure that's booked on. Just ring up the hotel and just, yeah, so it's the Ironman event. He says, oh yeah, we know that. We're 5-10 minutes away from registration. We're 5-10 minutes away from the swim start. Ask these questions, so make sure you're reassured that you're going to the right place, because I've made a balls of it a couple of times, and I've actually had to go and rebook hotels the week of a race, which is really stressful. Plan out your arrival time, when's registration. And again, this is a top tip. If you have put 6 to 9 months of training in, don't skimp on the days arriving. Don't arrive the day before the race. Arrive 2 days beforehand, because things will go wrong and you will need chance to fix them. What if your bag goes missing? What if your bike gets slightly damaged in transition? These are scenarios that happen. And if you've just arrived on the day and you've got no time to make to solution that, it's so stressful. And again, you've put too much time in this to skimp on an extra day or so. Arrive a day early. Oh no, my derailleur's slightly bent. What's the local bike store? He's down there. Cool. I'm pretty backed up, but I can fix it this afternoon. Just give yourself contingency. It's not worth stressing and skimping on the days, if you can. That's my top travel tip. Book bike service prior to travel with your local bike store. It's a key thing to do after your long bike. If they find that you need to change your chain, they'll tell you, ball bearings, all that sort of stuff. You want that bad boy purring come November. Know what you need to pack. I'll talk about this. How you're bringing your bike. Is it a bike box? Are you going with a tri-bike transport or teamtruck.eu? Like, these are things that you need to have booked and sort out now. If you haven't thought of it now, get on it now, because otherwise it's not the things you like to do at the last minute. Packing checklist. Right. Separate list for swim, bike, and run in terms of what you're going to need, what you're going to, and also think about, you will need stuff for training sessions and shakeout stuff beforehand. There's other things that you need to pack, and I love on the forums, everyone does it. Has anyone got a Di2 charger? Has anyone got a Garmin? Make out your list and tie it down. Or, hey, got you covered. I have a beginner's guide to packing for an Ironman abroad. In the links below, there's a downloadable kind of checklist, which means it takes all that sort of stress out of your mind. So, and key tip as well, if you are bringing by a bike box, Apple AirTags are a win. I nearly lost my bike going to Florida because when it came in, there was no sign of the bike box. Talking to the luggage guy and go, no, that didn't get on the flight, and said, look at my phone. It says the bike is over there, and it was actually literally in the luggage carousel over the wall, and they had to go get it. So Apple AirTags, I think they're $30 for one. Such a good investment, and you just stick it in the bike box, and then you have that peace of mind, which leading up to your Ironman race is so key. Okay, folks, that's all that I have at the moment. But my final bit of offering, in case you're interested, I run a free webinar specific to Ironman Florida on the 29th of October, 20 GMT. If you are keen and you might have questions or anything else you want to run through, just ping me an email to info@smartenduranceSolutions.com, and I'll add your name to the invite list, and then we can pop on a webinar. They take between an hour to 90 minutes. We answer all sorts of questions. How do I pee in my wetsuit? How do I pee in the bike? Always a lot of peeing questions. What should I eat the night before? Where's a good place to eat before? What should I do immediately after? What should I do if my pace starts dropping in a marathon? Bring your questions. I'm more than happy to handle all of them, because I want you guys to have a super race day experience, and better than I did. I had a bad day in Florida, but that means I have to go back and nail that bad boy. But I wish you the very best of luck. And I hope your last few weeks of training and your taper are awesome, and that we talk either on in the webinar, or we just have you ping me a note and let me know how you got on. Just curious. I would love people to have a good day out. Okay, guys, thanks for listening.